Hello, everybody. This is Bart Bettiga, publisher of Tile Letter Magazine, executive director of the National Tile Contractors Association. I'm extremely pleased and excited today to have a special guest with us. It is Trevor Lang. Trevor is the president of Floor Decor. Trevor, welcome, and thank you for being my guest today.
Hey, Bart. Well, thank you very much for having us. As we were talking about before we got on here, it's just such a great organization that you work for, and you really serve an important customer base of ours as well. And so we're very proud to be partnered with you and your firm.
Yeah, we've been working with you for a couple of years at the NTCA, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But I know you became president, I think probably just this year, but you've been
Yep.
with the company for a while. So give me a little bit of your background, how you came to Floor and Decor, and what your role is, as president.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. So I've been with the company 11 over a little 11 and a half years now. And when I started, we were 24 stores and just over $200 million in sales. And, assuming we hit our projections this year, we'll be 191 stores and right around $4.3 billion. So we've just had, we're 19 times the size we were when I got here. Just a great company. I've been in retail for a long time. I've been in soft goods, more of my career with apparel and entertainment and retailing, and going way back in my career, I was in public accounting, I just love working with growth companies. It's a lot of fun to work with an organization like Floor and Decor. When you have growth, you have opportunity. When you have opportunity, you can have a lot of people, meet their personal and professional and financial dreams, and that's just a lot of fun to work with here. So been here for 12 years. This will be my last, hopefully my last job. Don't plan on going anywhere else. And I got promoted to president. I sort of think of myself as certainly a financial executive has been most of my career, but I have an operator's heart. I love working with our stores and the website and what we're doing with marketing and all of those things that hopefully allow us to be successful. And so when the opportunity came up, they asked me, and I said, heck yeah, I'd love to do it.
How can you explain the rapid growth? That would be my first question. I've been watching Floor and Decor for several years now. I'm a 35, 40-year tile person, understand wholesale distribution, understand the big box. Did Floor and Decor find a niche here? Tell me how the growth has been so rapid. And then I want to combine that with you've got a lot of projections for growth, plans to open stores. Is the economic uncertainty changing any of that?
Yeah, I think we've got a couple simple core philosophies that have served us well for the 20 years we've been in business, and we've executed those incredibly well. And like any great organization, whether it's a sports team or a business or governmental organization, we feel like we get a little bit better. I'd say the first thing that started us off on the right path was, we love product here. We are a passionate people. We don't call our store managers. We call them chief executive merchants. And the reason we call them chief executive merchants is they have to have a passion for product. They also have to have a passion for people. Our founder also had a vision for buying direct. And so, we source from 240 vendors in 24 countries. And that allows us to get incredibly high quality products, really good looking trend like products at a low cost. And we cut out all the middlemen. And as you know, we have an everyday low price strategy, which allows us to compete very well against our competitors from a price. And whether you're a pro or a homeowner, we're agnostic, and we want to make sure you get the best price possible. And we know our prices are fairly significantly below most of our competitors. Broad, big stores, right? Our stores are 80% the size of a large home center. That allows us to show a lot more assortment. It allows our pros to really know that we have in-stock inventory, so they can trust that. Really, in the last 6 or 7 years, we've done a good job of kind of elevating the brand with a good, better, best assortment. As we really focused on that better and best part of the assortment, that's allowed us to get a consumer that in the past we didn't get. I know we'll talk about this a bit, but the pro business, and now we have free design services. People don't necessarily know this about us, but over half of our sales either come from the pro or are influenced by the pro, whether that's a general contractor, a flooring installer, a remodeler, a house flipper, real estate agent. Really, anybody who makes their living with our products is over 50% of our sales today. We have a great team. Average store has 50 to 60 employees that understand what it takes. We'll talk about how we serve the pro probably here in a minute, a little bit differently than the homeowner. And I think all those things have just worked well for us. And you're right, we'll end this year with 191 stores. We have a very clear path to at least 500 stores. And so it's really executing on those core philosophies that will allow us to have success in our oldest stores, but also in our new stores.
How you know, when I've watched wholesale and retail and home center business over the years, I've been involved in all of that. I always kind of felt like you were either good at one or the other. You know, you could sell to the consumer and be in the retail side, or you could be strictly or mainly almost 100% wholesale distribution, work with the builder, work with the designer, provide a discount to whoever was buying the tile, possibly the tile contractor. But you've been able to really navigate both. You're successful to the direct consumer, but you're really growing the pro side. How are you doing that?
Yeah, it's a great call. Again, our founder gets a lot of the credit for it. You know, he came from an industry where it was a lumberyard business, and he sold to the tradesmen, and so he understood the importance of, you know, you take care of that customer, and they're going to take care of you. He has a great saying. He's like, we're in the relationship business, and the benefit of the relationship business is people buy flooring from you. And I think that's kind of the ethos and the soul of who we are as a company is. We want to serve these people well, and I'll just call out a few of the things I think that have helped us, materially grow our pro business over the last decade. It all starts, as you would imagine, with two simple things: great product and great people. So as we mentioned, we have 240 vendors, 24 countries, big stores, in stock inventories that we know really can't be competed with. The home centers, as good as they are, they can only put 3,000 to 5,000 square feet dedicated to this space, and some of the smaller competitors we go with, again, their stores are generally fairly small. They don't carry in-stock inventory. So that pro knows when he comes in or she comes in, we're going to have it in stock. It's going to be trend right, and nobody's going to beat our prices. You then add to that, we have a dedicated team. A small volume store may have 3 or 4 associates dedicated to the pros. A large volume store can have over 10 associates. And these are true sales associates that all they do is take care of that pro team. So as you know, this is a relationship business. You have to be able to trust the brand, but you have to trust the person underneath the brand. And I think we've done a good job of trying to get the right people in the stores that care and are passionate about our pro customers. We have a pro desk where they can come in, they can take their clients, they can bring their clients in, use our free design services. We have job site delivery. What we're doing with you guys on education, we'll probably talk about that a little bit more, but we do lots of education on our pros, all the installation categories you need. So it's a one-stop shop. Again, trained associates. We have a great rewards program. Our pros can come in. We get texts and emails all the time from, oh my gosh, I bought these golf clubs, or I took my family on this trip because of this great loyalty program we have. Credit, we can give credit to small pros. We can give credit to big commercial customers. And I think great technology. Our website is very intuitive and helpful, and inspiration and education. We have a pro app that's just for our pros. And so I'll quit rambling on, but those are a lot of the things that every day we're trying to think about what are new and better things we can do to serve those pro. And that's kind of a taste of some of the things we've done. Liberal return policies, free storage. You don't usually get that from a lot of our competitors. And so all those things have helped us continue to build that pro portion of our relationship.
I was just out. I appreciate you actually laying that out. I was just out in California at our annual meeting and was talking to several members, and there were 4 or 5 newer members that had come, that had become members at regional training that Floor Decor had hosted, and 2 young couples I had lunch with said that they were very good customers, pro customers of 2 different locations of yours. And they mentioned that you also, they bring clients in or send clients, but that you also refer some work to them.
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit about how, is that part of your strategy to, cultivate your relationship with the pros? And then when consumers need someone to install, that's a group that you can refer and grow that relationship?
Yeah, I think that's right. One of, again, this is from my opinion, that we don't compete with our customers. If you go to a home center, they do install. If you go to, some of the other, bigger publicly traded companies, they do installations. A lot of the independents will do installations. We don't do that. We view that as competing with our best customers. And so the answer is absolutely. We will we do not want to do install. I don't think that'll ever happen at Floor Decor. And so, yeah, there's going to be instances where we're going to know good pros. And if a consumer needs help with an installation, because ultimately most of our stuff is going into a consumer's home, a homeowner, then yeah, we want to make sure that we can match them up with a pro.
That's great. So you talked about inventory, having product, having buying power, having all of the locations that you've got. So logistics has to be a big part of your business model. We've all heard the stories of supply issues, problems to get material through the ports. You are obviously a big importer. I know you carry tile and stone, but you also have LVT and wood, I believe.
Yep.
How challenging has this been, and how difficult is it to have inventory available for your customers? And what, based off your buying power, do you look at these challenges as an advantage, or a disadvantage with your type of model?
Yeah, good question. I think it's been an advantage. And if I even go back in history a little bit earlier, right, we had tariffs, and then tariffs went away, and then they came back, and then on top of tariffs out of China, you had anti-dumping and countervailing duties. Then you had a bit of a slowdown in the economy in 2018, at least in housing, and then you had COVID, and then you're right. Then you had this huge increase in sales that it was hard to get products, and all the ports were jammed up. And so part of the benefit of having a distributed vendor base across the world is it allows you to be a little bit more nimble versus a lot of our competitors buy from, a handful of suppliers that are incredibly important, and they're reliant on those suppliers. Whereas, our largest vendor, I think, is maybe 14% of our sales, and then it falls off pretty precipitously after that. So having a diverse vendor base gives us a lot of optionality as to how do we get products in here. And don't get me wrong, when really we and everybody else started seeing the complexity in kind of the first half of 2022, kind of Q1, Q2 of 22, and then it got really painful and complex throughout the end of that year and through about Q2 of this year, and now things have gotten a lot less painful. But we did a good job too. We were probably half lucky, half smart, in the sense that when we saw some of that supply chain starting to tighten up and container costs starting to go up, we went ahead and pulled the trigger and bought a lot of inventory in the first half of 2022. Right. And that served us well. Part of the reason our business was so strong last year was we had the inventory, and a lot of other people did not. And so I think our supply chain team and our merchandising team have done a fantastic job of sort of, peering around that corner a little bit and seeing that there looks like there's going to be some ripples of trouble, and trying to plan and get out in front of that. And we heard a lot over the last year that, well, I never knew to shop with you, but you've got the inventory. And now that I have shopped with you, all those features and benefits that you and I just talked about, man, I'm going to keep doing more business with you as well. So it's going to have long-lasting legs to help us continue to grow, because now we have customers that otherwise might not have stopped by to see us.
What goes into selecting a vendor, creating that relationship? How many people you've got to have experts on all of your categories. There's tile we can import from. You had to quickly change from, as you mentioned, probably from a Chinese product to other countries. Tell me a little bit about what do you look for in a vendor, and how does Floor & Decor approach that process?
Yeah, it starts with, again, the ethos of our company. We're about product and we're about people. Our founder was an incredible merchant. Lisa Lobby, our former president, was just an incredible merchant. Tom, our CEO, had big jobs at Home Depot, including the head of merchandising. We have regional merchants that live, we have 15 regions across the United States. So our regional merchants live in, Seattle, or live in Phoenix and Boston. And so they then give us input as to the trends and the things they're seeing that feeds up to corporate. Our corporate merchants probably on average have about 10 to 15 years of experience. Between our merchandising team and our inventory replenishment team, we have over 100 people that are thinking about inventory and how to source that inventory. So we have more merchants dedicated to the category with a substantial amount of tenure, that each of the main categories that we sell, we have multiple merchants within those categories. And so your instincts are right. We've got a big team, really good technology. We're good about seeing around trends. LVT and rigid core vinyl have been probably our best performing categories for, going on a long time. So we invested around that. Now in tile, for example, kind of large format tile and all of the installation categories that go with that, our teams have been, ahead of the curve and thinking about those types of things. And so our great merchants, along with the inventory supply chain, we've been doing this for, again, 20 years, and the tenure and the breadth of experience allows us to partner with our vendors. I think on the vendor side, most of our vendors have actually been with us for a fairly long time. And our sales on average over the last decade have grown about 30% per year every single year. If you're a vendor, your sales are actually growing at a faster rate because we also have to put that initial stock of inventory in the store. So we have to buy for sales, but we also have to put $3.5 million of inventory in the store, over 1 million square feet. So our vendor sales have actually grown at a faster rate than ours. And that endears a lot of loyalty. And we kind of ask two simple things of them. First, give us the best looking products, partner with us on that. And we want a low cost. And that's been very symbiotic. It works well for them, worked well for us. And so our vendors are incredibly loyal. We actually don't even call them vendors. We call them our partners. We bring all of our vendor partners in once a year and have a big celebration about them. We have vendor appreciation awards. We don't charge them back. We don't do a lot of things some larger retailers do to create animosity between them. Vendor appreciation awards, and then our merchants are in their countries all the time too, working collaboratively. So, it's kind of the simple adage of take care of your partners and they'll take care of you, and that's worked incredibly well for us.
And we're proud to be what we consider a partner also with Floor Decor. So let's talk about that. How do you looked at the pro side and you have a plan to grow that pro component of your business. Some of the other leaders in your company have shared with me that is they've been very pleased with the tracking of that and the significance of that growth, and they feel that supporting NTCA and being committed to training and education has led to that. Can you talk about that a little bit, and what is your strategy towards the pro program, and how does training and education fit into that?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a great leadership team that sort of all they do is wake up and think about how we service that pro customer better. And I won't go through them again, but I listed off 10 or 15 things that we've done over the last 5 or 10 years that have allowed us to do a better job of hopefully serving that pro. For years they've been talking to us and showing us how you guys have done an incredible job with other companies, retailers. How you're so important. Your periodicals are fantastic. You run a high quality organization, and we want to be associated with you. And so the idea, I think your teams and our teams got together and said, we could do these trainings. We obviously are advertising in your periodicals. I think this year we've trained over 1,300 of our pros on a lot of different areas that the NTCA has helped us with. And so for us, it's just one more benefit that we can give, and we see the loyalty, right? I mean, we're running a business at the end of the day, and we know when we give that training, those pros start shopping with us more. And so we're certainly doing it because it's the right thing, but there's also, a good return on that investment with you guys. And the fact that if you teach a pro a new job, they want to learn just like any other business person, and you can make them more efficient in what they do, and they've got a new skill, or they can teach their people and they don't have to take time out of their day to do it. That's just a huge benefit for them. So we're super appreciative of being able to partner with you guys. And I think I've said, over 1,300 pros have been trained, and I think we're doing a lot more trainings next year with you guys.
Yeah, I think we did. Not only have we done these nice little welcome everybody for some hands-on training, 2-3 hour evening programs. And by the way, you guys have, your company from the top down supports our trainers. When we get there, you're organized, you're ready for them, you help us market and promote, and you do an excellent job of making our trainers feel that they're wanted and welcome. And it's worked out great for us too. We've met a lot of new contractors, a lot of new installers who become members of the association because of their affiliation with you. And as we all know, right, Trevor, a trained installer, someone with the knowledge of industry standards and where they can go through your people and then through NTCA for advice, just makes such a better industry. But when you can have that.
Oh, for sure. And when you get a lot of our vendors like Schluter and Mapei and Latticrete and just all these wonderful vendors that they get exposure to what are these incredible products to allow them to do a better job, to your point, and really service their end customer. It's a win-win solution for Floor Decor, for the NTCA, and most importantly, our respective customers, the installers.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier that your people are out on the front of looking at new technology, investing in what are the latest new trends. And that, if you're going to do that, and I applaud you for that, you have to be out on the front end of the education side, because we have to make sure that the people that are installing our products are trained. And a lot of this is new technology, like the gauge porcelain tile panels. And you guys have brought that in, and and you've invested in these regional events and supported us. Yeah. We're dealing. We know we're dealing here in our industry with a concern about getting enough installers to meet the market needs, a labor shortage, if you will. And I think that exists or is starting to become a concern in the LVT side, in the wood side, as well as the tile side.
Yeah.
You got all this growth. Your stores have all this growth. What kind of people are you looking for? How does Floor Decor approach hiring? How do you approach the type of people you're hiring, training your people? We talked about training the pros, but let's talk about your own. How are you meeting the needs of your stores and the rapid growth you've got in a tight market that seems to be difficult for us to bring people into the construction trades? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, Bart, you're exactly right. It is way harder today than it was, 2 or 3 years ago. I think, the simple math is pre-COVID, there was about 100 million people in the workforce, and, post-COVID, there's like 95 million, and business is much higher for everybody. So there's definitely, and a lot of people have aged out, right? People that have a lot of skill that have done this job for 10, 20, 30 years have just retired or done something else for a living. So it's harder than it's ever been. Like I know it is for all of your partners that are doing with this. It's definitely more difficult. I think what Floor & Decor has to offer, and I think our CEOs are just a fantastic example of this, is growth. Our CEO was pushing carts around Home Depot as a high school kid, and worked his way up and ended up being a very senior executive at Home Depot, and then he's just done a fantastic job for the 10 years he's been with us too. And we have so many of those stories where someone was a cashier, someone was a overnight receiving operator, someone was doing forklifts, they were a salesperson, or even in the corporate office, right? They started off at a lower level in finance or IT or merchandising, and because of the growth and because we've added, we've gone from less than 1,000 employees. I think we'll end this year with 13,000 employees. We need great people to help us run this organization. So that's been one of the huge attractions to associates is, hey, you can be here and you can be an ADM in 6 months, assistant department manager. Then you can be a department manager. You're running tile or stone or wood. And then you can be a store manager and then a regional and then a divisional and work in the corporate office. So that's been one benefit that we have is there's just a ton of opportunity for growth because the overall business is growing so fast. And that's worked well for us. We certainly, as we've mentioned, it's difficult to find people in this environment, but once we get them and we start taking care of them, we tend to keep them.
Do you look, so obviously you're looking for people that have people skills, sales ability, so maybe some management ability. You mentioned that you offer design services. So are you out hiring people with design backgrounds, design degrees? Do you tell me a little bit about the type of people you look for?
Yeah, that's right. And I would say, again, we have a bias towards a merchant mentality, right? How do I make my stores the most inspirational they can be? We have these vignettes. An average store has 30 to 50 vignettes. We've got these big displays, lighting. How do you put the products together so that the customer sees the wholeness of how you build the whole project? And so that's another skill set we really look for, is someone who loves people and loves product. And design, that's a bit new to us. We've probably been at the design game for 3 or 4 years. And we kind of, like many businesses, we kind of tripped into it. And some of our best salespeople had design backgrounds. And then we said, well, why don't we sort of formalize that and make it a more thoughtful approach like we did with Pro, almost a decade ago. And so we have a wonderful leader that's all he does every day is think about how we can run our design business better. Today, we have over 900 designers, about 5 per store. And these are generally well-trained people. So a lot of them have educations and backgrounds in design. You can come in for free, and we can help you with a tool called SketchUp and actually build out your bathroom or kitchen or basement. We'll walk around the store. We have a lot of mobile technology where we can walk around the store and actually put that together for your bathroom or for your kitchen. And your contractor can send you in. Again, we don't do installs, so your contractor can say, hey, go in, work with Trevor. He's got these great design backgrounds. You guys figure out what you want. I'll make sure it works. I'll sign off on it before you buy it. You buy it, you pay, I'll come pick it up and install it. So that's just that's a big labor savings for our pros, that they don't have to go not deal with their customers, but they can outsource that piece of working with their customers to us. And again, it's a good design service. It's a good service for us. So kind of went off on a tangent, but that has been a big part of our success, is again hiring people and allowing them to continue to grow within the organization. And yeah, design's been a big part of our success. And as I mentioned, we have almost 5 designers per store now.
So I'm just about wrapping up, but I've enjoyed this and really appreciate you giving us this time. You talked about putting an investment of inventory into each store, a pretty sizable investment as you build your stores. Can you talk about inventory management to me a little bit? I was taught in the wholesale side, you got to turn that inventory. I mean, you can't just be sitting on millions of dollars. It's great to have product when people need it, but you've also got to turn it. How do you guys approach that when you build into your pricing, your profit? As a strategy towards managing inventory, is that, do you move material from one location to another? Is that part of your advantage? And what do you do when somebody's once in a blue moon wrong? I remember being wrong. I bought the wrong product a few times that came into Minneapolis and it didn't sell. What's your plan, or what's your strategy when the stuff you thought was hot is not going to be hot?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously a great question. I'll try to hit it at a high level. I mean, we've been doing this for 20 years, so we've got some really good technology. The vast majority of what we sell is on a replenishment system, meaning as you sell things, you're back ordering that and it shows up. Almost everything we buy goes through our distribution centers. I think 80% of what we sell comes from overseas, roughly. So it comes into our distribution centers. We have 4 large DCs, one in Moreno Valley in Los Angeles, one in Houston, Texas, Savannah, Georgia, and Baltimore, Maryland, all about 1.5 million square feet. When you open the door to walk in, you can't even see the other side. They're so big. They're just these huge distributions. So the inventory comes into the distribution centers, and then based on rate of sale, a DC will average maybe 40 to 60 stores that it'll support. And if one store is selling this SKU super fast and we got to ship them 14 pallets the next day, then we'll do that. If another store is selling a different SKU fast, then we'll ship them that. So we've got this big, sophisticated investment in the supply chain through our distribution centers and really good replenishment technology that has allowed us to do it. We also we're a trend-driven organization, and so trends change, and so we have to be aggressive. And okay, this was hot, but now it's slowing. Like wood look tile, as you know, was a big category 5 or 6 years ago. Now it's more like large format, white looking tile. And so again, I think our merchants do a good job of say, hey, I see this trend starting to slow. I'm going to cut off those SKUs. I'm going to replace that with this new look product that I think is going to drive sales, and that's worked well for us. And then I would say on the discontinued, yeah, everybody doesn't buy perfectly. We make mistakes just like everybody else, and we try to position the product in a way that it's appealing to move that product out. We will discount it in cases where we think the price needs to go down. But we've got really good systems and really great merchants that are disciplined and making sure that we turn our inventory in a way that makes profit. We're a public company, so everybody can see our financials. We turn our inventory just over 2 times a year, which in retail is actually not that fast. So for example, Home Depot turns their inventory 5 times a year. But having that in-stock quantity is so important to that professional customer. We're okay with not turning our inventory as fast as other people because, we want to make sure we have those in-stock job lot quantities, which is very important. But it's a profitable business, and our merchandising and supply chain teams manage it very well.
That's great. So on that, you have a lot of buying power. You have a lot of material available in the U.S. Primarily, I've looked at your company or the model to be geared towards the residential side, geared towards the the installer with the consumer on building and remodel. Are you looking at, or have you at a high level looked at the commercial market, and have you approached the commercial market, or are you thinking of the commercial market as an opportunity for you as you grow your stores? Because you do have price on your side, you have buying power, and you have the ability to have the materials when a commercial contractor needs them. Have you looked
Yeah.
at that? Can you
Oh
share?
yeah. We actually have a fairly big commercial business. Our commercial business will be next year will be about the size of the total company when I got here a year ago, right? It's in the hundreds of millions of dollars. We also bought a company last May. I don't know if you might have seen that in the trade. We bought a company called Spartan, which was a great commercial sales specifier, I think is what the right term you would call for that, that did nothing but commercial. We had started our own commercial business about 2 years, maybe 3 years before we bought them. At the end of this year, we'll have probably between Spartan and Floor Decor, we'll probably have close to 100 professional sales reps that calls on Gensler, calls on Marriott, calls on A&D firms, small business owners. And so the answer is, yeah, it's probably the smallest of our businesses, but the fastest growing of our businesses. And to your point, we built this big infrastructure to support the consumer homeowner business. But at our core, we have incredibly good looking product at a low cost, and we can compete really well with the people who sell into the commercial space today. And so the answer is yes. We have a very big commercial business that is growing faster than even the retail business, albeit from a smaller base.
Well, I really appreciate you being with me today. I know you're very busy. I just want to thank you and your team for supporting the tile industry through training and education. You've supported the National Tile Contractors Association, and we're delighted to share your thoughts with our readers at Tile Letter Magazine and with our members. So thank you so much for being
here. Yeah, Bart, same thing. Again, you guys have been a very important partner, and thank you for what you do for our industry. It's really important to service those people who are actually also putting this product in. It's a difficult job. It's a taxing job, and hopefully between your organization and our organization, we're supporting those people to allow them to run a profitable business and continue to grow and teach and educate so they can run a better business.
Thanks again. You've been listening to Trevor Lang, president of Floor Decor, and this is Bart Bettiga with Tile Letter Magazine and the NTCA. Thanks for being with us, everybody.